you feel that I'm not saying that that form isn't important, but you feel that here in US sometimes, especially when in kind of a creative writing department, it's like a shrine of form. It's like a kind of people comparing sentences. It's like people writing beautiful sentences and putting them in a wooden box and say, I'm going to use this sentence sometime, but you don't use the sentence sometimes because if you have a good pickup line, for a Chinese midget, you will not meet a Chinese midget in your life. So don't write a story about a Chinese midget just because you have a good pickup line. Write your story. When you get there, find a good sentence. If you don't have one, use the cliche. Maybe it will work. Like when you watch sports, you see those basketball games.
Right.
Those guys are cursing all the time. Each of them has his own character. Doing the gesture. Then you go and interview them, and he said, well, I gave a good game, but the whole team won. And and even in the postures, they're like, they're like stuck, and they all talk the same. They're like you feel like David Stern is kind of speaking from, and they say those bunch of cliches,
Right.
Well, I'm already thinking about the next game. You're not thinking about the next game. You're thinking about the shots that you're going to have, but you're going to say that you think. And I think that the same thing happens when you write, because usually, by instinct, I'm saying if each and every one of you will take a page and we want to write something that happened to him, you see that the register is usually higher than the register that you want. That you usually
the register,
the level of you use better words. How do you
I
say
see. Yeah. The tone of it. Yeah, the register.
The tone of it.
Yeah.
Stick with me. You learn English. All right. so
there's a story that you wrote a few years ago that I really love called Halibut. And the idea of the story is that it's two friends and they're meeting at a restaurant right on the beach, and they're getting into a fight because one of the friends is getting married to this girl that the other one doesn't approve of, and doesn't approve of the way the friend talks about it, and the friend who isn't getting married just wants to get out of Israel. Basically, he's sick of living in Israel, and the only reason why he's staying is for the business, and they order food, and one of them gets the halibut, and one of them gets the talking fish, which it says here, it comes lightly salted but not spiced, and the two of them get into a fight, and the fight is basically about one of them's the optimism of one of them, and the utter pessimism of the other, and it's irreconcilable. And
no, it's actually about the fact that the guy who ordered the talking fish, he waits for the fish to talk. And while his friend says to him, kind of, stop making scenes, in a restaurant, eat your dish,
There's this moment in the story where it goes, take off, the fish whispered without opening its eyes. And the fish says, grab a cab to the airport, hop on the first plane out, doesn't matter where to. And then the guy goes, but I can't just take off like that. I explained in a slow, clear voice, I have commitments here, business. The fish shut up again, and so did I. Almost a minute later, it added, never mind, forget it, I'm depressed. The fish says, I'm depressed. And
well, wouldn't you be depressed if you were served on a plate to somebody who didn't even eat you? Basically, what makes a writer is that he waits for the fish to speak and gets everybody annoyed in the process, because it's basically, you have this situation and two people kind of get their plate, and one of them waits for the fish to speak and the other eats his food, and those guys who don't eat their food, and get on everybody's nerves, they are the writers. That's the kind of writing thing, kind of waiting for the fish to speak,